everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you know when you're getting new episodes. And we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get it rolling. The Shout Out Show. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. Please forgive me for the earlier technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on with my StreamYard, but all mistakes that happen during the telecast of mine, I take personal responsibility for the professionalism and the technical responsibility of the show. So I'm not going to blame StreamYard. But I am happy to see people actually come on board for this topic. This is a different topic. I know we normally do social stuff and things like that. We did the Shout Out Show. We've done a lot of things. Sunday we did the top fives, which is a beautiful show. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. And if you didn't hear that message earlier, please subscribe. We're trying to make sure we hit 100 this month in August. So please subscribe to this show here on YouTube. I love the title, Build Your Dreams and Keep Your Deen. For those who don't know what Deen means, Deen simply means faith, your belief. Religious means whatever affiliation you're tied to, Islam, Christianity, any other Abrahamic faiths. Even if you don't even have that, it's what you believe. Build your dreams and keep your deen. You know, brothers and sisters, I really thought long and hard about this, and I really wanted to back up a little bit because a lot of times when we talk about dreams, people talk about it in the context of there's some type of physical pursuit. When I say there's a physical pursuit, it's like they have this dream and it has to somehow materialize. It has to have this tangibility to it, where not only can I see my dreams, but everyone else around me can see my dreams too. And I thought about this. I said, you know, oftentimes dreams don't work like that. Dreams are something inherent that you have and you build upon it. And it becomes actually part of your character. Many of us will not achieve all of our dreams, but the practice of trying to pursue the dreams builds our character. You know, and when we talk about deen or religion or our faith, that's a large part of faith too, that the things that you go through build your character. They build your DNA to go through other things. You know, when I thought about this topic, if you will, it really hit me up. Let me give my sister a call, a shout out. What's going on, Satana? Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. She could probably identify with this. The idea of dreams are interesting because we're not talking about a business. You know, that's your business goal. You want to build a business, you build a business. You don't really build your dream. You know what I mean? And if your dream is the business, there's still a disconnect between them because at some point it stops. It stops with dreaming. You have to have effective implementation, if you will. You got to have execution. And sometimes people don't understand that. And I really went to this whole scope of dreaming, what it is to have a dream. And it is to have a goal. It's very about having a goal-oriented aspirations, but not aspirations to the point that it involves the rest of the people around you, if you will. That's a business, if you will. You know, that's a pursuit, if you will, advocacy. But a dream is very personal, man. A dream is very personal. And sometimes people, well, what do you mean that it's personal? Let me throw this question out at you. Someone asked me this question years ago. And I went back in my notes and I found a question. When I was talking about my dreams, someone asked me about my dreams. And I'd say, I've told them all about my dreams. And you know what was interesting? He said to me, he said, listen, man, I like your idea, your dreams. But he asked this question. And it reminded me of something my grandfather said to me years ago when I was little about dreams. He goes, boy, he said, he said, you have your dreams. I said, yes, sir. He said, do you trust your dreams? Let me ask you that question. You all have dreams. Do you trust your dreams? Meaning that will your dreams move to the level of dreaming to the point that there's passion about what you want to do, passion about your dreams, and then other side of that level is once this passion, of course, this sacrifice. So that idea of do you trust your dreams? When I say that, I mean, are you really willing to take it all the way where it needs to go? People going to preach, what are you talking about? Well, let me say this. When we talk about our dreams and we will put them into reality, if you will, do you trust your dreams to take it all away? Let me give you a prime example. My big dream when I was a kid was not to be a comedian. Many of you know that. I wanted to be a jazz musician. I worked hard to be a jazz musician. I practiced hard. I read music. I wrote a little music. I could play music by ear. The problem was I wasn't a proficient jazz musician. But that practice, if you will, determination allowed me to understand communication and music and words and things like that. And I found a nice, comfortable landing spot in comedy. Now, that story is to be said that I never stopped being a jazz musician. I never stopped dreaming of being a jazz musician. But the passion, if you will, to be a jazz musician dissipated. What does that mean for the people who are listening? It means that sometimes your passion, your sacrifice, even when you trust your dreams, it may not pay off. That's why many of us will talk about our dreams, but we don't actually put them into play. We have these dreams, but we don't trust them. One of the things about being a comedian, I was just talking to my friend L.A. Hardy about this earlier today, was the fact that sometimes, I don't know, give a shout out. What's going on? What's going on, brother? Sam, that's my main man. Thank you, brother. It's this whole thing about dreams, and we were talking about being comedians. And my pursuit was I wanted to be a great comedian. I didn't dream about being a comedian, though. I didn't dream about being a great comedian because two things. Number one, my hero was Dick Gregory, and I knew I could not be better than Dick Gregory because I didn't grow up in the civil rights era. He came through a very terse and difficult time in terms of social upheaval, civil rights, and effectively the real organizational structure and the real organizational movement for social justice. I couldn't be Dick Gregory, and then later on I couldn't be Richard Pryor because Richard Pryor cursed, and I was already in Islam, and I was like, I can't be Pryor, I can't be Dick Gregory. But it didn't mean I couldn't be great. Okay? Flash forward a couple years. Let's talk about dreams and keeping your Deen. Now, hold on, people. This is going to get a little bit deep here. People always talk about Allah Made Me Funny. I tell people who want to listen, I said, Allah Made Me Funny came to me in a dream. Now, you can believe what you want, you make jokes, but Allah spoke to me in a dream and said, around 2001, right after 9/11, that I need to pull this tour together, that I need to do something for my people. And pay attention, folks. I was already working comic in Hollywood. I was getting writing jobs. I was on my way up. And this dream comes to me, the dream to do Allah Made Me Funny. And I reject the dream. I don't reject the dream. I just don't want to do it. I want to keep it a dream. I didn't want to make it reality. The dream kept coming, and it was like, I got to make it reality. And I had to leave Hollywood. And it's something that's really, really deep, man. Really, really deep. What if, brothers and sisters, the dream that you carry inside you is not for you? The dream that you carry inside you is not for you. And you have to carry out because it's other people's dreams. It's other people's aspirations. It's meant for those people to see that if this can happen, they could dream too. Now, one of the things that was really helpful for me in this whole dream thing was I was a teacher. And to go back to this conversation with my friend L.A. Hardy, teachers live a very hard life. Their shelf life, they're not lasting 30, 20 years, 35, 25 years anymore because it's just really difficult and it's hard to teach these days with all the legalities and the issues that children have fighting your principals and school boards and all of that. But back in the day, a teacher's dream was that the children would be successful. Hold that thought. Knowing that you only had them for a year. not even a year, 10 months. And you were teaching them as hard as you could in the hope and your dream was that they would be successful. You would never see it. And when I was talking to L.A. Hardy about being a comedian, and we're talking about brothers and sisters, trusting your dream. Do you trust your dream? To the point that if you took it all the way to the end and you executed it, would you be happy if you didn't get the results that you were looking for? Meaning, would you trust it all the way if your goal was to be an outstanding super duper comedian, you worked as hard as you could, and you got into a point in time where you couldn't do comedy anymore, or people didn't want you, almost something we're dealing with COVID, would you be happy? Would you be able to turn to somebody and say, you know what, I trusted my dream. It didn't give me what I wanted, but I trusted it all the way to the end. And therein lies, brothers and sisters, the second part of Build Your Dream, keep your Deen. Because Allah Made Me Funny delivered me in a lot of ways. It delivered me out of the clubs. I never ever went back to working in a nightclub again. So it delivered me out of that spot. And what was interesting was the comedians that I took on the road with me, or I brought into the fold of Allah Made Me Funny, I took them out of the clubs too. I took them out of the clubs, I took them out of alcohol, and we had this relationship with the Muslim community that's still standing today. And maybe that was a dream. Maybe some of us have dreams that we carry for other people. Maybe we use as vessels, and other people may have dreams and they're looking and go, you know what? That's what I want to do. That's what I've always dreamed of doing. Being a comedian, it's funny. People go, I dream I could just get up on stage sometimes. And sometimes you have to show them. And maybe your dream, brothers and sisters, is not your dream. It's the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that space, that's why I say, yes, 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 I trust this dream, even though it's not mine. So people go on, preach, what do you mean? Let me give a shout out, Sister Rabina. Good to have you on the show. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm going to give a shout out, Sister Nafisa. Thank you for coming on the show. But this whole thing about dreaming and keeping your Deen, the reason I bring it up, Kareem Nafisa, thank you, is I had a conversation in an interview recently about artists who felt that they couldn't perform and keep their Deen, or the community didn't support them. And I said something that it resounded with me, and that's why I do this talk. It was like, we talk about the community supporting you, but do you support the community? Do you support the hopes and dreams of the community, the wishes of the community? When you think about it, even in prophetic tradition, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was chosen. He was chosen. He didn't enlist. He didn't volunteer. He was chosen. And he may have had all kinds of dreams. But the dream or the vision that came through him is why many of us are here today. Now, some of you guys are going, well, how does that work out? Like I said, we normally tie our dreams to a system. We normally tie our dreams to a system. And I tell folks this, and this is really important because I'm going to be teaching a class about this, about stand-up comedy, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to ask these guys and these young ladies, I'm like, do you trust your dreams? My dreams, as I got older and older, became a lot more broader. When I say a lot more broader, it means they weren't as personal to me. Even with the ShOUT show, people say, hey, tell me about the ShOUT show. I was like, oh, this is great. A lot of people don't know that the ShOUT show is an idea that started in 2012. It was my dream to do something like this. But the reality is nobody liked it. They liked the idea, but they didn't support it. Nobody wanted to put money behind it. And it's interesting because I can sit here and tell you that, it's easy for me to say that. You know what? The dream died. Nobody wanted it, brought it up. But here's the beauty of it. That you can take a dream and you can segment it. People always talk about their dreams. They never talk about parts of their dreams, fractions of their dreams, the bits and pieces. You may have the beginning, you might not have the end, you might have the middle, you might not have the beginning. It's just the idea that it's such a fluid thought that sometimes we forget that you're not going to always win in one big fell swoop. The other thing is, let's be honest, and I'm going to put this up here from. That's right. Dreams don't happen on their own. We got to get up and make them. No, dreams actually do happen on their own. When you want to make them reality, you got to get up, right? When you want to make them reality, you got to get up. The inspiration is the thing that's going to drive you. Dreams happen on their own. We can't stop dreaming, right? But when you take a dream and you want to make it a goal, or you want to make it a reality, that's where the hard work comes in. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I hate to be redundant, but brothers and sisters, understand that when you have a dream, just like you have religion, your dream and your Deen, the thing that they share in common is if you want to excel in them, get used to two things. Number one, you're going to pay your dues. And number two, after paying your dues, guess what? You're going to pay your dues again. I used to laugh. I did this joke years ago, and I don't know. I hope I didn't blind you guys with my gray hair. I did this joke, about is there a pecking order when you give dua? Like when you're praying to Allah, what number in line are you? Which is funny because it's so petty. It's so really, really petty. And then I thought it wasn't petty because of that scope when I talked about, do you trust your dreams? It came to me this idea, if you will, that the idea of a dream being satisfied, the idea of a dream being, to your satisfaction is almost a misnomer. And the way it says a misnomer is this. Because even with a blessing, we can only comprehend a blessing at a human level. You see what I'm saying? We can only appreciate it at a human level. It's sort of like when you go to the gas station, you're pumping gas, and the gas is going in, and it'll get to a point when the gas tank fills up, the little bobble thing, and it'll click off. That's sort of like, our comprehension. It'll click off. We can't comprehend it at a divine level. I've heard people go, divine intervention is a miracle. No, it is where you are at your level of comprehension is a human level. If you can think beyond that, that's cool. But even on the best day, you're going to be, guess what? A human being. So when I talk about building dreams, oh, thanks, Doug. Thanks for the shot. Hey, Doug, you still owe me some homework, brother. I called you about it. I want your homework, funny man. But building a dream is interesting because I've realized as I worked through the years and worked in the community that sometimes it could be the idea that dreams are meant to come together. Your dream is not a whole as much as it is a part of a whole. He said, I have a dream, but he talked beforehand speaking about how he wouldn't get there with you. Been to the mountaintop, gives you the whole thing, but I won't get there with you. He can tell you everything about the dream. In fact, if you listen to that speech about been to the mountaintop, his whole thing, he begins that he has a dream. And then when he does it, brothers and sisters, it becomes even more and more and more relevant because he's telling folks you can build a dream and you can have faith while you're doing it. Because that's the other thing that happens. A lot of people, they have dreams, they have big dreams, but they don't have the DNA to say, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice, I'm going to put in my dues. And that's one of the things about your Deen. Your Deen is always about learning, but it's also about turning in dues. Look at Doug. Doug, no. Can I turn it into a stand-up class? Absolutely not, sir. You can be in a stand-up class, but you're going to turn in your homework just like everybody else. You got a script due. Handle it, young fella. But as I begin to move a little bit forward and further, I believe, brothers and sisters, this whole idea about building your dreams, you know what? It's a misnomer. You have to build expectations. And that's what dreams really are. Dreams spell out, in some regards, this weird space of expectations. Because when you wake up, sometimes, and sometimes a dream is something you had while you were sleeping, but sometimes it's something you aspire to. And maybe we need to put a little comma between dreams and aspirations, dreams and goals. Because I had a dream that I was going to be a basketball player, to be 6'5". It didn't work out. That's a dream. But I also had aspirations that I was to be a really good basketball player, and I was able to practice. And I was like, yeah, have a level of proficiency. You know, maybe we need to reframe what our dreams are. When I say reframe, I mean let's talk about what's real and what's not real. Let's look at our character and understand and speak clearly about what our limitations are and what our abilities are. And I'm not saying abilities or liabilities. I'm talking about what we can do, for lack of a better word, and what we can't do. Because I think that's one of the biggest dream killers in the world. People won't sit up here and talk about what they're willing to sacrifice. Let me say, oh, here's there you go. Don't say your dreams, you're not scared. Let me see. Don't say if your dreams don't scare you, they aren't big enough. Okay, all right. My mom's chiming in here. My dream was to help my people progress in the community. You did that. You did that. But that was more your goal. It's like my aunt. My aunt's she used to be she's a former lawyer at EEOC. But my aunt's dream was to be an opera singer. I know that. But how many opera singers did you have back in the 50s and the 60s? Let's just call it what it is. Her career was law, but her voice was her dream. So, you know what? I normally will ask what people's dreams are, but I don't want to do that today. I want you, if you get a chance after this telecast is over, write down your dreams, what you really, really want to do. And we're not talking about money. We're not talking about money. We're not talking about networks, anything like that. We're talking about, have honest conversations with yourself. And I'm even going to have one. Like I said, I want to be a jazz musician. That was my dream. Now, I still have my saxophone upstairs. Doesn't mean that you're going to catch me on tour of Brentford Marsalis or Gregory Porter or any of those people. No, no, no. But just for a little bit. Playing the horn. Playing the horn a little bit connects me to how great that feeling used to be when I wanted to be a jazz player. And so the last part is, brothers and sisters, don't be afraid to reconnect on some of the dreams that you had. Maybe you put them away somewhere, you hit them, but you know what? Dust them off. Dust them off. Blow the dust off the dreams and see where they connect with your character. Because dreams are not wasteful. Now, I'm going to give a shout out to my brother right here, Imam Zaid Abdul Kareem. Yes, he'll tell you how important it is to have dreams. Because the one thing I didn't say was kill your dreams. You have enough people to tell you to kill your dreams. You have enough opportunities to kill your dreams. No, I'm saying examine your dreams. I told you guys about Allah Made Me Funny and me wanting to be a comedian, if you will. And the thing that happened was I didn't want to do Allah Made Me Funny. But I realized, you know what? Sometimes the dream that you have or that's given to you, it's not for you. And in that space, this is probably a whole nother show. We have to accept will in our life. Let me say that again. We have to accept will in our life. And I understood that. It wasn't my dream to do Allah Made Me Funny back then. There were a lot of reasons. Number one, I was already a working comedian. Number two, I don't like to do a lot of comedians because a lot of times it starts out real nice and then it turns into competition. And that's what it was. Guys thought we were in competition. I'm like, I have a goal, but you're in competition. And it makes it really, really difficult, brothers and sisters, to even expand further. Because I'm trying to follow this will, this idea that's been given to me. But even then, I realized as I watched the young comedians on stage, I was helping them achieve their dreams. So as we wrap up, brothers and sisters, I want to encourage everybody to not just dream or dream big, but dream out loud. Let people know your dreams. Let people know, you know what? I don't want you to see me as one dimensional or two dimensional. I want you to see me as multi-dimensional, meaning that I have different pursuits that I've wanted in my life and I can get them, or I can deal with this right here because this is the reality I'm in, but it doesn't mean I can't dream. And speaking some things into existence is almost as cathartic as actually achieving a dream because other people around you. One thing that's happened with this whole COVID-19 thing on the spiritual side, even on the religious side, is that people, in a weird way, have stopped dreaming. They look at where we are and they find a certain sense of finality to it. Death, loss of jobs, things like that. And they've stopped dreaming. I saw a kid at the mall, not the mall, I'm sorry, at the grocery store. And, he was in a little cart, you know. Now they had those carts. Remember your mother used to put you in one of those little carts when you went shopping and you would steal stuff and eat it and make her pay for it at the register. Mom, don't even talk about it. I know I did it. And you don't need to remind anybody. But I saw a young man there and I said, hey, little fella, I said, what you dream? What you want to be? And his little dream was, you know what? He says, I want to own a grocery store so I could give away all the food to people that need food. And I'm like, that is amazing. Even if he doesn't do it, look at that. Look at the content of what he said. Look at the idea of what he said. And that has to register on the heart. That has to somehow tie into his character. And when we talk about Deen, it's the same thing. What's your dream as a Muslim? What's your dream as a Christian? What is your ultimate dream? Gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha. A lot of us are dreaming the same thing. So, brothers and sisters, build your dreams, keep your Deen. I'm Preacher Moss, ShOUT Show. See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.